Immigration is essential for Canada's future, but it must be controlled and it must be sustainable. With today's annual immigration plan, that is precisely what we're doing.
October 24, 2024, the Government of Canada has announced the much awaited immigration level plan for the next 3 years. Every year around October, the government makes an announcement with regards to the immigration levels for the upcoming 3 years, and they just made an announcement. Now, as expected, the Canadian government is continuing its harsh stance on immigration, targeting a reduction in immigrants, and this particular plan is no different. Over the last few years, we have seen significant increase year over year over the immigration targets, be it for permanent residents or for temporary residents. Well, this year they have announced not only much anticipated reduction in temporary resident targets, but also a reduction in permanent resident targets for the next 3 years. Now, for those of you who are trying to make sense of what's going on, what has changed, how this is going to impact, this is the video we're going to go over all the different outcomes from this announcement. We're going to see the immigration plan for 2025, 2026 and 2027, and we're going to analyze and compare it to prior years. So stay tuned until the end of this video. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Roop. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. At our firm Effizient, we assist all prospective immigrants with their immigration to Canada. If you are an aspirant, you want assistance, or you are an employer who is looking to assist your employees with their immigration, or you want to hire high-skilled talent from outside Canada that you cannot find here in Canada, here is our contact information. Feel free to contact us. We would be happy to assist you. Now, before we go into the details of the immigration level plan, let's quickly answer the comment of the week. Now, this comment comes from Dhruv Dholakia, who shares the same first name as me. So I don't know if that was the reason I picked this comment to answer, but nevertheless, the comment is on our video on PGWP extension due to passport expiry. The question is, what if we have applied online for the PGWP extension due to passport expiry? Is that going to be a problem? So the official instruction by IRCC is to apply via paper for extending a postgraduate work permit that is expiring due to passport expiry. For PGWP extension, they ask you to submit an on-paper application. I've known people or I've seen people who have applied online as well. Mostly the application goes through. I'm not sure. In some cases, there are probable causes where the application is denied for not applying on paper. Since the IRCC instruction says apply on paper, we recommend everyone to follow the instructions, because even though they may be approving applications online, but if an officer goes by the book and he sees that the instruction is to apply on paper and you are submitting an online application, he or she can refuse the application for your PGWP. I hope this helps. Now, going back to the immigration level plans, Justin Trudeau, along with his immigration minister, Mark Miller, made an announcement, and the common theme was that they want to limit immigration going forth.
Now, it is time to make the adjustments to stabilize the immigration system that we need and get it working right for Canadians for right now.
They are saying that we have had enough influx of immigrants. Now it's time to double down. Now it's time to reduce that. And they are using very strong words, saying that this is the time where we need to support Canadians. We need to make sure that the Canadians are protected, that immigrants or cheap foreign workers are not taking their place in the labor market. Now, guys, for those of you who are trying to make sense of what's going on, why did the government change their stance? This was the liberal pro-immigration government who was bringing in loads and loads of people into the country, trying to solve the labor shortages. Suddenly, they're saying that we don't have any labor shortages anymore, and now we don't need any more immigrants. What has changed? Guys, don't put a lot of brain into it. The only thing that has changed is the public sentiment and the fact that the next year is an election year, the government has sensed the public sentiment, which is essentially towards uh, kind of capping or reducing the inflow of newcomers given the resource constraints for healthcare, for housing, and for all other resources. And hence, the government, in order to maximize, of course, their chances for winning the next election, they have to take action, and this is what they're doing. Now, guys, here on the screen, you can see the press release with regards to the 2025 to 2027 immigration levels plan. This is the IRCC's release on the immigration level plan for 2025 to 2027. And the government has broken it down to permanent resident targets as well as temporary resident targets. And they have very clearly broken down with regards to what kind of permanent residents they are gonna take in, what are the numbers for each of the different categories, and same with the temporary residents as well. So here, if you go into the details of it, you will see all the different measures that government has announced this year as well, with regards to the cap on international students, postgraduate work permit reforms in order to tighten the eligibility for postgraduate work permits, and with regards to the temporary foreign worker program, where they are making these changes in LMIA regulations in order to make it harder for businesses to hire foreign workers, for foreign workers to come to Canada. And then, last but not the least, they have doubled down on the spousal open work permit. Now, spousal open work permit is one of those particular applications which was being widely misused, with fake contract marriages being done in order to immigrate to Canada as a spouse of an international student or spouse of a temporary foreign worker, and then coming into the country, they find their own ways to get permanent residence. Now let's go into the details with regards to the permanent resident targets that the government has set for the next 3 years. So here on this particular page, you can see the numbers for different categories of permanent resident programs for 2025, 2026, and 2027. So broadly, there is economic category. Within economic category comes your express entry, your Atlantic immigration program, PNP programs, and all of these economic peer pathways. Family class is parent, grandparent sponsorship, spousal sponsorship, common law partner sponsorship, bringing in your dependent children. And then we have the humanitarian, which is refugee and protected person. And over here, for each of different categories, the government has released the numbers. Now, guys, let me on the side also pull the previous year's prediction, previous year's level plan, just to have a comparison here. So this one is the plan from that was announced last year for 2024, 2025, and 2026. And now this is the plan that has been announced for 2025, 2026, and 2027 that has been announced in October of 2024. First of all, 2025, the target last year was set to 500,000. This year, 395,000. So guys, that is a straight decrease of 105,000 applicants. That's like over 25 or around 20%, more than 20% decrease right there in terms of the number of permanent residents. And similarly, going forth for 2026, they have decreased just even further, and 2027 even more decline. Now, one thing to note here as we go, they have created this category which says French speaking permanent residents admission outside of Quebec. So government specifically targets French speaking nationals who are situated outside of Quebec. They want to increase the intake, and they have given the numbers. So guys, last year they set some numbers, 31,500 for 2025, 36,000 for 2026. This year they have also set those numbers, again because the overall number of permanent residents has gone down. So the French speaking population that the government wants has also reduced to 29,325, which is around 8.5% of the total target. Now, if we compare this to the previous year's plan, it was 31,500, and if we do a simple calculation divided by 500,000, that is 6.3%. So guys, everything else has gone down, but the targeted French immigration has actually gone up percentage wise. Even though the number has gone down, percentage wise it has gone up. Now what this tells us is the government is hell-bent. They still would prefer French immigrants, and that boils down to my previous videos that everything will be shut down. The French programs would be the last ones to be shut down by the government, and hence if you are in a place where you see all the other doors closing down for you, guys, French is something that will open new doors for you. Again, learning a language will take a year, maybe 2 years, but if you are just getting your PGWP today, this is something you need to invest. You have to, and now this is very much evident with the immigration level plan that has been created, that has been shared by IRCC. Moving on, we have the different categories under the economic class. So first of all, previous years the government did not break down the categories as granularly as they have done this year in the economic class. Here now they have broken it down, where they have talked about the federal economic priorities. They have talked about in Canada focus. So essentially they have given definition for each of those as well. For in Canada, it is Canadian Experience Class and other regional immigration pathways. Federal economic priorities comes to your category specific draws. Then comes the economic pilots for fulfilling some of the shortages. Atlantic Immigration Program, PNP programs, Quebec Skilled Worker, and the Regularization Public Policy. And for each of these, they have given numbers. So overall, if we look at the numbers for different economic pathways, last year the projection in 2025 was 300,000. For this year it's just 232,000. Then again it's around a decrease of 70,000 admissions, which boils down to around more than 20% reduction in the targets. Similarly, this is going to further reduce in the coming years to 229,000 in 2026 and 225,000 in 2027. Now guys, not only has the intake for economic class gone down, but also the family class. So guys, here you can see the number of family class. Last year they wanted 84,000 spousal or common law partners or the children permanent residents. Now that has gone down to 70,000. So even they have done a reduction for this kind of spousal sponsorship. Similarly, parent grandparent targets have gone down. So if you are or you were aspiring to bring your parents through those draws, tough luck. I know some people have been waiting for 4 or 5 years and still haven't received a draw. Now it's going to be even harder. Then comes the refugees. Even the refugee targets have dropped. Again, Canada has been sort of the front runner or a very big advocate for asylum seekers, for refugees. Now seems like that sentiment is also changing and they have reduced the intake. So guys, this is in summary the immigration level plan for 2025, 2026 and 2027 that the government has announced. So this was the update on the immigration level plan that IRCC released in October this year. And as we've seen, projected reduction in immigration targets for the next 3 years. Again, guys, as I've mentioned before, elections are coming next year. the government is essentially responding to the public sentiment right now. And hence we see a reduction in the immigration targets. Again, guys, as I've said in my previous videos, at this point, if you are planning on targeting Canadian permanent residents, if you are serious about it, if you cannot afford to go back to your home country, if you are the person for who it's okay you get your PR, it's okay if you don't get your PR, you can go back home, you are okay, you would just do fine, then no need to do anything. But if you are one of those who cannot afford to go back, you've spent too much money in Canada, you need to stay here to sustain yourself, your family, please do French. Invest in French in the upcoming years. Things don't seem to be getting better anytime soon. You have to make this investment in French in order to secure your future. I know a lot of people who are doing it already. I know you guys can do that as well. So stay positive, keep working, and invest your energy in the right places. Now, you don't or you never know when they're going to shut down pathways, but French is something that's going to go on for a long time. That's it for this video, guys. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you are notified about any new video that we upload. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.